Coming up on today's Broncos Breakdown, we're going to talk about Denver possibly trading for the All-Pro safety Budda Baker after they were identified as a potential trade destination by Bleacher Report. Now, before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the show, I want to get a pulse of everyone watching right now. If you want Denver to go out and trade for Budda Baker, like today's video. If you do not think trading for Budda Baker is in the best interest, comment P for pass down below in the comment section. I want to see what people are thinking on this subject here, so sound off for me down below. Now, Bleacher Report, like I mentioned, identified Denver as a trade destination for Baker. Now, Baker earlier this offseason, according to Adam Schefter, said he wants to become the highest paid safety or be moved on from. So, if Denver or any team is trading for Budda Baker, it would come with the expectation that they are going to give him a pay upgrade, and he will become the highest paid safety. Now, Budda Baker, of course, has a connection already to Mile High. He played under now DC Vance Joseph from 2019 to 2022 after he was canned in Denver. He went down to Arizona, as we all know, became the DC there, and he got Budda Baker to become one of the best safeties in the NFL. Now, this is what Maurice Moten wrote on Baker coming to Denver potentially from Bleacher Report. This offseason, the Broncos acquired head coach Sean Payton, and he hired Vance Joseph for the defensive coordinator position. Joseph worked with Baker in Arizona. Under his tutelage, the Cardinals safety earned 4 Pro Bowl nods and made the 2020 All-Pro roster. In the AFC West, the Broncos could combat Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes with a couple of high-end safeties in 2020 Pro Bowler Justin Simmons and Baker on the back end of the defense. This is my initial reaction to that last thought about slowing down Mahomes and the Chiefs by adding Budda Baker. You already have 2 of the best DBs in the NFL, Patrick Surtain and Justin Simmons, who are 0-4 against the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't see a reason to believe that adding Budda Baker is going to be the thing that pushes this team over. No, if you want to beat the Chiefs, score more points than them. And that means bring the offense. I don't think you beat the Chiefs with an elite defense that limits Patrick Mahomes to 14 points. I just don't see it going down that way. So I don't see adding Budda Baker as a last piece of the puzzle to finally slay the big mean dragon that's Kansas City that's had Denver's number for so long. So for that reason, I am going to give you guys a bit of foreshadowing here, and I'm kind of out on adding Budda Baker. Now, he is a great player. There's no doubt about that, right? I think Budda Baker is one of the best safeties in the NFL. He had 2 picks last season, 3 the season before. He's a great run stopper. He's an awesome playmaker. He's a ball hawk. He is a do-it-all safety. He's had time at strong safety, time at free safety. Budda Baker is the complete package. And with Vance Joseph as his defensive coordinator, he was very effective. 27 pass breakups, 29 tackles for loss, 7 interceptions. And like I said, he is great against the run. He can come up to the line of scrimmage. He can make plays on running backs. He can make open field tackles. He is everything that defensive coordinators look for in a safety. But I still have my hiccups and concerns with adding him, and I'll extrapolate on that thought in just a moment. But help us reach 14,000 subscribers. We are 48 subs away. Let's get there off today's show, right? Let's reach our next milestone, and let's pick up 48 new subscribers. Be the one that gets us our 14,000 sub by clicking that sub button. My concerns are money related, right? Remember that report from Adam Schefter who said that Budda Baker wants to become the highest paid safety in the NFL? Well, right now he is number 7 behind Justin Simmons. And sure, we know that players like to become the highest paid, even if that doesn't mean they're the best at it. It's just the way the market works. It's good for other safeties because it continues to raise the bar. So if he wants to become the highest paid safety, I mean, that means $19.1 million. Maybe a team makes it an even $20 million a season, 5-year, $100 million or something. But that's my main concern. The timing is not right. Is Denver a $20 million a season safety away from winning in the postseason? They had a great defense last season. It won them 5 games. They don't need to add $20 million a season to the defense so they can continue to win 5 or 6 games. Sean Payton and the crew have to figure out the offensive side of things. They've got a good safety room. They've got Justin Simmons, who is probably the most underrated defensive player in the NFL. Caden Stearns has been awesome when healthy. Kareem Jackson's back for year 14 or something now. They added J.L. Skinner in the draft. Like, I don't think this team is a safety away, and a very expensive safety away, from making a lot of noise in the postseason. Budda Baker's a great player, and maybe another team that feels they're one piece away would greatly benefit from him. But for now, let's figure out the offense before we start spending a lot more money on the defense, because the defense last year clearly showed we can limit teams to 13, 14 points a game, but if the offense is not going to score, then it's all for nothing, right? It's like Jacob deGrom on the Mets. He can shove for one earned run for 8 innings, but if the Mets don't put up a run on the board, it doesn't matter. Now, Denver's cap space for next season, more ammunition to fuel my side of the argument, is not wonderful. They gave out a lot of money this offseason, and they are currently in the red, negative $31 million. That's like 5th or 6th worst in the NFL. They can make a lot of money. I think they very well may move on from Courtland Sutton, for example, after the season, if he is not a Pro Bowl-ish level wide receiver, because there's a lot of savings to be had there. But by and large, Denver does not have bukus of money to spend with the cap situation, and adding a 5-year, $95 million, $100 million safety, whatever the exact number is probably not best for this team long term, given that they are more than just one star safety away from competing in the postseason. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, our sponsor, BetUS, is back for Broncos country, and they've got the best deal out there. Go to chatsports.com/bet. When you use that link, you can use the promo code Broncos125, and they're going to give you a 125% deposit bonus. So if you got a good feeling about the Nuggets bouncing back in Game 3 against the Heat, take a -2.5. I said Nuggets in 3. If they win by 30, maybe that constitutes Nuggets in 3. But hey, if you still got Denver taking down Miami on the road or whatever, yeah, make sure to use that link. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code Broncos125. Remember when the NBA went 2 games, 3 games, 2 games in the finals? That was like a fun 2 seasons. But nevertheless, Nuggets -2.5. Book it right now using our link and promo code. Budda Baker, this is not like Budda Baker slander, right? He is a very good player. And that's why I could see the, light at the end of the tunnel if Denver were to trade for him. He's only 27 years old. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler and 2-time All-Pro. He's been very, very available for the Cardinals, playing 93 of the possible 98 games in his career. So there's a lot of upside to adding a player like Budda Baker, who's one of the best in the business at his position. And unlike Jamal Adams, for example, he is always available, right? He only misses a game or 2 max a season. Now, Denver is short draft capital moving forward. They don't have no picks, but they don't have a ton of picks. They have their first back, but their second belongs to New Orleans. They have 1/3 because they traded one to Seattle to move up and get Riley Moss. They've got a pair of 4ths, a 5th, and a pair of 7ths. 7 picks altogether for 2024. So they have some picks to move around. I think a second is probably the best value for Budda Baker, something Denver doesn't have. So if I had to take a swing at what a Budda Baker trade looks like, I don't see Denver giving up a first, right? You just saw after the Jamal Adams trade, which was a first-round pick going to the Jets, that safeties really aren't worth first-round picks. Like, how often do you see safeties go in the first round anyway in the draft? A second feels a lot more appropriate, but I don't have a second to give. So all I can offer, if I'm Denver and you want to get this deal done, is a pair of 3rds, which if I'm Arizona, probably decline this deal, right? If it's not a second, a pair of late day 2 picks for an all-pro player doesn't feel like great value. But would you do this trade if you were the Broncos? Y for yes, N for no. If I've got Cardinals fans watching, I'm sure they would give this a hard no. But hey, this is a Broncos YouTube channel, so let me know what your thoughts are down below. And to kind of summarize this entire video, this is probably the nucleus of why I oppose a Budda Baker trade. Is it the fun, splashy, sexy move to make right now in June? Sure, and it'll be fun. And Budda Baker's a good player. He's a great player. He's an all-pro player. But you got to pay him 5 years, somewhere in the range of $19 to $20 million a season. You have to give up draft picks and good picks, right? 3rd-round picks aren't something you just light on fire. To get a safety who's going to join a defense in a secondary that's been great the last couple of seasons, but that has not turned into wins. So I'm tired of seeing ideas of investing into the defense The defense was great. Let's invest into the offense. And once the offense is good and Denver feels like, all right, now we're one piece away from really going on a postseason run, sure, that's when you add a player like Budda Baker. But not when you're sort of in no man's land where you've got Sean Payton. He's a top 5 coach in the NFL. You've got a lot of talent on this roster, but we have to really see it materialize into wins on Sunday. And once that happens, if Denver gets off to a hot start, sure, then you can do a midseason trade for Budda Baker if you see the AFC is for the taking or something. But for now, I'm passing. I appreciate everyone for tuning in and making us a part of your day. Subscribe down below if you have not already and get the best Broncos YouTube coverage out there.